and should make sure everything is cleaned up. Sam said this to me as we were having tea with Marable before he left. What's with that attitude? It's okay. No, it's not. Says Marable, who had become used to Sam's attitude as if it were normal, got angry on my behalf. And then she offered to help clean. Sam's room is a mess. Sam's room was scattered all over. While cleaning it up, we chatted and laughed. During this, Marable reached for something. Oh, I tried to stop Marable from opening the drawer without permission. But before I could, I heard Marable's surprised voice. What's this, huh? Oh, what happened? No way! I was speechless when I saw the photo in Marable's hand. A happy family photo and a completed divorce application. It was then that I finally woke up. Marable, will you help me? Of course, having gained a strong ally, I began to prepare for the battle. List things to get rid of it. With that thought, I rolled up my sleeves. My name is Sally Smith. I'm a 35-year-old housewife. I've been married for 5 years, but we don't have any children. I had a peaceful and gentle married life with Sam. Our meeting was through an acquaintance, a so-called arranged marriage. Both of us had just ended relationships and were tired of fiery romances. Sam and I shared the same values, but I didn't feel the butterflies I had with previous lovers. However, being at the right age for marriage, I thought this must be some kind of fate and decided to marry Sam. Sam had similar reasons for marrying me, so we never discussed it. Since we shared the same values, dividing household chores and habits went smoothly without any major issues. I took care of the housework and Sam handled his job. While many around us bragged about their love marriages, I could genuinely say I'm happy about my own marriage life. However, this peaceful life was about to change drastically. It happened one night when Sam, who rarely drinks, came home drunk, unusually at 3 a.m. I greeted him at the entrance. Welcome back, you're late, aren't you? It was supposed to be a usual exchange, but Sam's behavior was off that day. Shut up. It's my business when I come back. As I was puzzled, Sam, reeking of alcohol, started using harsh words. Basically, I married you to make you do the housework. Don't get involved. But you're just a housekeeper. That's not. I was stunned to hear Sam's true feelings for the first time. Feelings for the first time. Although we hadn't gone through the process of falling in love. I had loved Sam, and I thought Sam loved me too. I wish I had married someone younger and bragged about her to everyone. That's terrible. Terrible. I'm the one who feels that way. After saying that, Sam stormed off to his study, started snoring on the makeshift bed. I cried in the entrance, listening to Sam's voice. Our marriage life until then seemed like an illusion. It was going to get harder from now on. Yet when Sam woke up the next morning, he was his usual self. Good morning. What time did I get back yesterday? The man. I was forced to drink a lot. Something wrong? Oh no. Good morning. Be confused by Sam, acting as if nothing had happened. I didn't know what to do. Seeing me worried, Sam pressed on further. What's up? You're acting strange today. No, it's nothing. Come on, it can't be nothing. We're married. We should be able to talk about anything. Well, if you insist. I couldn't hold back and ended up telling him about last night. Sam's face gradually lost all expression. And the moment I finished my story, Sam's attitude did a complete 180. So it came out, hon? That's awful. You probably married me for my status anyway, right? I married you because we shared the same values. Yeah, whatever. With that, Sam cut off my words and slumped heavily into a chair. Then he started ordering me around with a nod of his chin. Dinner. Let's make it quick. Dinner? Who do you think provides for you? Get to work, housekeeper. I felt scared of Sam, whose attitude had completely changed. From then on, Sam started treating me purely as a housekeeper. Hey, dinner. Sam stopped calling me by my name, and although I was initially sad, I gradually became numb to it. Hey, is the bathroom ready? Yeah, it's clean now. Then say so sooner, you're slow. I'm sorry. Eventually, I began to use formal language with Sam, and he naturally accepted it as the due course. After living like this for several months, Sam spoke up during dinner one day. I'll be on a business trip for a month starting tomorrow. Get ready. A business trip? Got a problem with that? No, I understand. Sam's job is an officer. I wondered if he really had business trips. I was curious, but I didn't have the courage to ask Sam, who was grumbling about dinner in a bad mood. That night, while preparing for his trip, Sam went to sleep at his usual time. I wondered how things got to this point. And to this point alone. I shed tears. Don't slack off on the housework. Yes, without I'll be going then. That's all Sam said before leaving. I replied and saw him off. The moment I was alone, I felt a sudden release of tension from my body. A month alone, huh? I was genuinely happy to get a break from the stressful life for the first time in a while. At the same time, thinking about continuing this life for years to come made me a bit depressed. Well, no use worrying. I've gotta enjoy this month anyway. I lifted my spirits by saying it out loud. Using my own savings, I went out to eat with friends for the first time in a long while, read books at leisure, and enjoyed my alone time. During this period, I thought a lot about the future and decided to take steps towards divorce. The first step was to look for a job. However, Sam wouldn't be pleased with me working. After much thought, I decided to try my hand at part-time data entry work from home. Having worked as an administrative assistant before marriage, I had no problem using a computer. Gradually, it took on more assignments and increased my income. Just when I was getting used to this new lifestyle, Sam returned home after a month. Did you take care of the house properly? Yes. We'll see about that. Even though it had been a while. Sam looked at me with an annoyed expression. But of course there was no souvenir. I didn't even feel like complaining about it. Let me do. Well, it's passable, I guess. Sam said that after looking around the house. I felt my emotions draining away again. As long as Sam is here, I'm an emotionless robot. I thought to myself again that I must get a divorce. After that, Sam often went on long business trips. Each time, I had to pack and then unpack his things. The only saving grace was that the hotel Sam stayed at apparently did his laundry, so there was hardly any laundry when he returned home. I can't count how many times I choked on the sticky, sweet smell of the fabric softener. But complaining about it to Sam would only make him angry, so I always wore a mask when putting away the laundry. One day, my sister-in-law Mirabelle came to visit our home. Unlike me, Mirabelle is active, and since we're about the same age, we've been on good terms since the beginning of my marriage, calling each other by first names. I served Mirabelle some cake and tea I had made, and sat down with her. Then Mirabelle took a bite, smiled and said, "Sally's cake is always really delicious." Sam's such a lucky guy. You think so? What's wrong? Something happened. No, it's nothing. Anxiously, I tried to change the subject while offering her another piece of cake. How about you, Mirabelle? Oh, listen to this. He left his socks lying around again. Isn't that cute? Not cute at all. Mirabelle was talking about her husband, whom she had recently married. Apparently, he had been a familiar face in the neighborhood, and after pursuing Mirabelle for 10 years, despite being 10 years younger, they got married. Initially, Mirabelle treated her husband like a child, but after being pursued for 10 years, it seems she was completely charmed, and despite complaining, they live happily together. I was very envious of my sister-in-law and her husband. Hey, are you ready yet? Oh, I am. You're really slow. I'm sorry. Sam seemed not to have noticed Mirabelle was there. Since we hardly talked, I hadn't told him she was coming. It couldn't be helped, but Mirabelle was shocked by Sam's attitude. Not showing his face in the living room. Sam headed to the entrance. Ekmel to make sure everything's cleaned up. Sam said this to me as Mirabelle and I were having tea, then he left. What's with that attitude? It's okay. No, it's not. Mirabelle got angry on my behalf, having become used to Sam's attitude as if it were normal. And then she offered to help clean up. Sam's room is a mess. While tidying up, we chatted and laughed. In the midst of that, Mirabelle reached for something. Oh, that's... I tried to stop Mirabelle from opening the drawer without permission. But before I could, Mirabelle's surprised voice was heard. What's this, huh? Oh, what happened? No way. I was speechless when I saw the photo in Mirabelle's hand. A happy family photo and a filled-out divorce form. It was then that I finally woke up. Mirabelle, will you help me? Of course. Having gained a strong ally, I began to prepare for battle. The first step is to get rid of stuff. Thinking so, I rolled up my sleeves. Mirabelle and I stuffed Sam's belongings into trash bags. Tucks among them, we saved anything that might serve as evidence, such as diaries, photos, and letters. In the photos, Sam always had the gentle smile of our early marriage days. I collected them emotionlessly, while Mirabelle reacted to each one, getting outraged every time. Hey, let's just go to the lawyer's office now. Yes, let's do that, Mirabelle suggested with a mischievous grin, and I smirked back. Sam said to make sure everything's cleaned up. Let's clean up this relationship entirely. I quickly packed my immediate belongings, disposed of all of Sam's stuff, and headed to the city hall in Mirabelle's car. After filing for divorce, we went straight to Mirabelle's house. What? Ellie. Sorry to intrude. Mirabelle's husband was initially very surprised, but after hearing this story from Mirabelle, he became even angrier than she was. And for someone who has loved a person for over 10 years, what Sam did was unforgivable. Flea, you can stay here as long as you need. I appreciate it, thank you. I expressed my gratitude to Mirabelle, and she apologized in return. However, Mirabelle had done nothing wrong. Struck on the contrary, she found the evidence and even offered me shelter. I was nothing but grateful to Mirabelle. Sam had said he would be on a business trip for a week. He wouldn't contact me during that time, so he wouldn't realize I had left the house until a week later. Us will never forgive him. He's going to regret this. That's the spirit. Both my husband and I will help you. Mirabelle, thank you so much. Thanks to Mirabelle. I was full of energy and motivation. At night, I slept soundly, and the next day I began talking with a lawyer. At the same time, I was also searching for a place to live, and one of Mirabelle's acquaintances offered me a room at a very affordable rate. Gratefully, I decided to make that room my base. Let's work hard together. Yes. Thank you very much. The lawyer's name was Turner, and he was a very refreshing man. Honestly, at first, I was disappointed, thinking he might be another miss, but appearances can be deceiving. He efficiently handled everything from fact-checking to forecasting and made everything I requested possible. I discussed it with Turner and sent a certified letter to Sam. And I left Sam's copy on the living room table. Sam called me 3 days later. Hey, but what the hell is this? As soon as I answered the phone, I could hear Sam's angry voice. I responded calmly. As it's written, what? This is ridiculous. Sam complained to me in frustration and continued his rant. Hey, whose money did you use for this? I mean, what? It's the money I earned, right? No, it's mine. While it's true that Sam provided for the living expenses, my income had already become sufficient enough to cover my own living expenses by then. Therefore, the lawyer's fees this time were entirely covered with my own money, including my original savings. But no matter how much I explained, Sam refused to accept it. Sam refused to believe it. Seriously? But you're just a useless woman anyway. Just do the housework quietly, and I'll provide for you, so hurry up and come back. For to be looked down upon to this extent, rage bubbled up from the depths of my stomach. I unleashed all of it on Sam. At least it's you who can't live without me, isn't it? I have my own income sufficient for living. You are unnecessary in my life. Hey! The moment Sam tried to retaliate, the doorbell rang on the other end of the phone. I couldn't help but smile upon hearing it. Look, someone's there. Who's this at such a time? Mom, Dad. I almost laughed at the predictable turn of events. But I held it in and spoke to the other side of the phone. Perfect timing. Sally, thanks for letting us know. We'll give this foolish son a good talking to. Thank you very much. I expressed my gratitude and hung up the phone. My in-laws were both former teachers, very strict about discipline. They were strict with themselves and even stricter with others. Sam had always said he was scared of his parents, but to me they were wonderful in-laws. There was no way such in-laws would forgive Sam's infidelity. A few hours later, Mirabelle received a message from her father-in-law that they had given Sam a thorough scolding and wanted to arrange a meeting to discuss things. We'll be there with you. Mirabelle, really, thank you. I contacted my own parents and set a date for the meeting. My parents cried when they heard about everything, making me feel somewhat guilty. I said to Mom, I'm sorry for all this. What are you saying? Your happiness is the most important thing. Let's cut this bad tie quickly for now. Right? We'll have to cut bad ties soon. I might join you. My mother said, causing a panic in my father's voice over the phone. I chuckled, playing along with my mother's mischief. My parents had an arranged marriage, but they get along so well that everyone around them is envious. My positive view of arranged marriages comes from watching them. But the thought of them getting divorced is as likely as the world turning upside down. Mom, try not to tease Dad too much, okay? Looking forward to the meeting. Right, Dad's a bit of a crybaby. Leave the discussion to us. I could already hear my dad's nearly crying voice over the phone, which painted a heartwarming picture in my mind. After some more small talk with my mom, I hung up. That's on the day of the meeting. Since we were a large group, I decided to hold it at our house. That day, myself, the lawyer, facing Mirabelle and her husband, our parents and the in-laws, a total of 8 people, gathered in front of the house. Entering the house, we were shocked. What is this? It's filthy. Ugh, it looks like my brother's room from back in the day. My in-laws were appalled at the mess. Sam was never great at tidying up, but he wasn't this bad. According to Mirabelle, that's because he hid his true nature at first and then dumped everything on me later on. Sam was sitting at the living room table, zoning out. That's when he noticed us. He started to cry and tried to cling to me, which my father-in-law stopped. Sam then began to yell, "Come back, Ellie, and about you." I watching Sam pathetically cry. I felt nothing. Realizing I no longer loved Sam, I just smiled down at him. What are you laughing at? See, all this mess is your fault. Where have been slacking off? We're already divorced, so I have no intention of doing any housework here. Sam's eyes widened at my words. I realized I hadn't yet informed Sam that I had filed for divorce. I squatted down in front of him to tell him the truth. You told me to make sure everything's cleaned up, so I did just that. We cleaned up your room and our marital status. So that's why all my stuff is gone, Sam said, looking shocked. I smiled sweetly and nodded. Sam's face turned red with anger in an instant. Don't joke with me. Who do you think has been providing for you all this time? That would be you. I'm grateful for it. You repay kindness with betrayal. Oh, I thought I was paying my dues with housework. Which time I countered. Sam seemed on the verge of bursting a blood vessel in anger. And then as Sam raised his hand to strike, it wasn't me who flew but Sam. Thump. Sam, holding his pained cheek, looked stunned. The one glaring at him, panting with fury, was none other than my mother-in-law. I knew you were a bit insensitive, but I never imagined it was to this extent. But what you've done is unforgivable. Nan? My mother-in-law, tears pooling in her eyes, glared at Sam. Then she turned to my parents and me, beginning to kneel in apology. I'm terribly sorry for my foolish son's outrageous behavior for hurting Sally. Please forgive us. You've done nothing wrong. She kept apologizing, crying. Seeing his mother's actions, Sam seemed to finally realize the gravity of his mistakes. But just as Sam began to speak, the doorbell rang at the perfect timing. I went to greet the guests with a smile. Welcome, thank you for coming. Sorry for being late. No, you're right on time. Please excuse the mess. I led the guests to the living room. Sam's eyes widened upon seeing them. Ivone? Sam? The woman named Ivone awkwardly uttered Sam's name. I apologize for the late introduction. My name is Smith, and this is my wife. Moi finds active. Yvonne here. I'm so sorry for, well, Yvonne started crying mid-sentence. She looked just like she did in the photo with Sam, kissing her for the first time. I smiled encouragingly and urged her to continue. Let's start with how you two met. Oh, it was at a reunion. She was an ex-girlfriend, right? And you rekindled your relationship after meeting again. I'm so sorry. I didn't know he was married. Yvonne's words made me burst out laughing. Yvonne looked completely terrified by my reaction. I decided to kindly explain why I laughed. Here, this is a copy of the account I found. This is your account, isn't it? Why do you have this? You made it public, wanting to be noticed, right? I pointed to a particular line. It read, "Wish my wife would see this," clearly proving that Yvonne's earlier statement was a lie. You said you cheated without knowing he was married. Lying again? But, I'd be sued for compensation otherwise. Exactly. Yvonne's husband glared at her as he spoke. Amidst this, Turner took the floor. Let's proceed. We've demanded $1 million from you. You both are okay with this, right? Sam and Yvonne vigorously shook their heads. Then Sam started speaking in a feeble voice. How are we supposed to raise a child with both of us owning that much? You have to be kind to those with children. Sam's assertion was met with a cold stare from Ivano's husband, known only to me and Turner, who had discussed the matter. How dare you say something so insincere? What do you mean? Yvonne attempted to hide the truth even now. My mother-in-law hit the nail on the head as she looked straight at Yvonne. That child in the photo isn't Sam's, is it? Why would you say that? No, that child is Sam's. Oh, really? That's strange. What's strange? My mother-in-law chuckled. Yvonne, not understanding, pressed her irritably. Sam is unable to have children. What? Yvonne's husband glared at her as he spoke. Sam should have been informed as well. What do you mean? That's exactly what it means. Yvonne slumped down, overwhelmed. Sam appeared to have completely forgotten this crucial detail about himself. It's quite foolish, considering it concerns his own body. I had heard before we got married that Sam had a condition that made it impossible for him to have children. Before I responded to the matchmaking proposal, I received a call from my mother-in-law. The Tebow infertility treatment wasn't entirely hopeless, so I had agreed to marry him. We had decided not to have children after discussing it together. But Sam had forgotten all about it in the excitement over the child from the affair. Why didn't you tell me? I forgot. How could you forget something so important? Yvonne shrieked. Yvonne's husband interjected with a calm voice. So, as it turns out, the child isn't Sam's. Nor is it mine. Actually, yes, I was on a long business trip abroad, and by the time I returned, the child had already been born. Quite a terrifying experience. Everyone present shuddered at Yvonne's husband's story. It seems that no matter how the math was done, the birth of the child couldn't align with the last time Yvonne's husband was in the country. Upon investigation, the father was identified, but an even more shocking truth was uncovered. The child's father is a guy. The Timur. Yvonne has a debt of about $100,000 to that nightclub. You investigated. That's the lowest. That phrase fits you perfectly. Bonnie's husband remained calm against her hysterical screams. Sam was gaping, obviously not having imagined there was another man involved. As the atmosphere became increasingly chaotic, Bally, who had been silent, spoke up. Both my brother and that woman are the worst. What do you think my dear sister-in-law is? I will never forgive you. Mirabelle. Sam, who had always adored Mirabelle, was at a loss for words being called the worst. Yvonne, on the other hand, was hostile. It's none of your business. Since I'm her sister-in-law, it's not. But seeing my dear sister-in-law hurt fills me with rage. Whatever. You'll get cheated on too. At Yvonne's words, Mirabelle momentarily lost her composure. Akin. Mirabelle's husband, with a gentle smile, chimed in. Do you understand my feelings of 10 years? It took me 10 years to marry my wife. Don't compare my precious wife with someone who changes her heart and spreads her legs so easily. What? His tone was quiet and calm, but his anger was palpable. Yvonne was taken aback, unable to retort. Meanwhile, Werner laid out the documents on the table. They were consent forms for the compensation. Sam signed them with a lifeless gaze. You're not going to divorce me, right? What? Of course I am. Don't worry. I'll also pursue a lawsuit to deny paternity. But that child is yours. What are you talking about? We've done a DNA test. Yvonne, faced with an undeniable smile, signed with a pale face. Well, whether you two decide to marry again or part ways, it's none of my concern. This house will be put up for sale next week. Sam, please make sure to leave by then. Entryist capturing as OPM Sally wait. Ignoring Sam calling after me. I left the home I had grown accustomed to. Then I returned to my new place and spent the night drinking delightful wine with Marable and her husband. Later, I heard from Ivan's husband that Sam and Yvonne had parted ways. After we left the house, the two of them apparently got into a physical altercation. Yvonne divorced her husband. She went back to her parents' house, but lost custody of the child and was put to work as a live-in employee. A propensity in a workplace dominated by women, where her affair had been exposed to everyone, she's being avoided by all. I can't help but feel a bit sorry for her, but since she's paying alimony every month, I hope she keeps her job. Yvonne's husband seemed a bit down, but being highly desirable, he remarried soon after. This time, he chose a woman willing to accompany him abroad, wishing them happiness before cutting off further communication. Sam was not only disowned by his family but also dismissed from his job. The reason was simple: he had been cheating during work hours. As if claiming to work from home since the child's birth, he practically spent every day at Yvonne's place without doing any real work. It's unbelievable. Having never worked outside of his job since graduating college, I know this because Turner, my former lawyer, has been receiving tearful calls from him. The unfamiliar with the real world, Sam borrowed money from dubious sources and the repayment amount kept increasing. He begged to return the alimony and pay in installments instead. Of course, Turner refused, and Sam is now working day and night to repay his debt. My in-laws have started living with Mirabelle and her husband. It seems it was Mirabelle's husband's idea, and the in-laws are very happy. They live close to my house in a two-family home they brought to accommodate all four of them. I'm invited for dinner about once a week, and Mirabelle and I often go out together, maintaining a very good relationship. They initially felt guilty towards me, but I love them dearly and have assured them they're not to blame, bringing us closer than ever. Especially with my mother-in-law, who shares my interest in tea, we often go out for lunch together. The exception Mirabelle and my mother-in-law playfully compete for my attention, which has become a regular occurrence. By the way, I recently remarried. My partner is Turner, who's my lawyer. After the case was closed, we kept in touch, and eventually, Turner asked me out. Since I had no negative feelings towards him, I agreed to date him. We got married a month ago, on our 3rd anniversary. As it turns out, I'm also pregnant and expecting to become a mother next year. Miraculously, Mirabelle is pregnant at the same time, and we're looking forward to being mom friends. Which one is it? A boy? What about Mirabelle? I'm having a girl. Maybe they'll get married in the future. Who knows? After our checkups, Mrs. Mirabelle and I had such conversations on our way home from the gynecologist. At home, our anxious husbands were waiting for us. Mirabelle and I laughed together at the sight of them. Surrounded by my worrisome husband and a trustworthy friend. I feel very happy. Oh, it moved. Let me feel. It's not moving now. Hey, why are you laughing? I didn't. I wish for these peaceful days to last forever. With only 3 months left until childbirth, I'm eagerly looking forward to meeting our child,